Health authorities have just revealed the COVID cluster in Sydney's northern beaches has grown to 17. Let's go to our reporter Ursula Malone outside a COVID clinic in Avalon. Ursula, this is a developing situation. What more can you tell us about the latest infections?
Well, the latest news is that there are 12 new infections identified tonight here on the northern beaches. Now, that's in addition to the 5 cases we've already heard about over the past 2 days. So that makes now a total of 17 locally acquired infections here on the northern beaches. Now, health authorities are still trying to work out the source of these infections. They're working on the hypothesis that it was someone, an unknown person, who was at the Avalon RSL last Friday, December the 11th. Now, one encouraging piece of news is that health authorities don't believe that this virus has been quietly circulating in the community for a long period of time. That's because sewage tested from the northern beaches on December the 10th was negative. But certainly this virus has clearly been circulating for the past 6 days, and it now looks possible that there will be more cases identified. Now, health authorities tonight are urging people from the northern beaches to stay at home where possible, to work from home where possible, and not to travel out of the area. And for people who don't come from the northern beaches, they're urging those people to stay away.
That's our reporter Ursula Malone, and we will come back to you, Ursula, a little later for an update. Just as we were preparing to celebrate the back of 2020, today is the wake-up call that we're still living in a pandemic. WA and Queensland have begun to introduce some travel restrictions, with fears the holiday plans of thousands of people could be ruined this Christmas.
A week before Christmas, many would have been expecting to queue at the shops. Not for a COVID test, but as the number of confirmed cases climbs, the line for a swab swells.
Not good. Not good for Christmas. Very surprised it's happened in Avalon, actually.
Hundreds have been waiting at clinics for most of the day. For a handful, this is their second attempt at testing.
Came down last night and queued for 2 hours.
We waited till about 9:30, then they had to cut it off.
Among the new infections are a worker at a retirement village in her 50s, her partner and a musician in his 60s.
Interestingly, the band is called Nothing Too Serious, so certainly from our point of view, I wouldn't say it's exactly how we feel.
It is serious, considering the band's schedule. They played at the Avalon RSL last Friday, the Penrith RSL on Sunday and the Kirribilli Club a day later. Anyone who was there at the same time should be swabbed.
These people who have come forward as heroes to put themselves there and to be tested, and now they're doing what they need to do.
That could include spending Christmas in self-isolation for some. Everyone at the Avalon RSL at any time last Friday has been ordered to isolate for 2 weeks, even if they test negative. That's because 3 of the cases were there that day.
But they're not the source of the infection. We need to find the source of the infection. That's why the genome sequencing is going to be so critical.
The festive plans of people in some aged care homes could also be in doubt.
We're recommending no visitors until we identify the source of the infection and feel more confident that we have it under control.
New South Wales is the gold standard, so I don't spend too much time worrying about New South Wales.
The other states do. Queensland says it'll only shut its border if the situation in Sydney worsens.
The action that we take will be based on what intelligence we can get. That may involve naming geographic hotspots.
The West is also waiting for health advice.
If we need to, we'll put up a hard border with New South Wales. I realise that would be very upsetting for many people.
Passengers arriving in Perth late today have been told they'll have to quarantine.
Unfortunately, while your aircraft has been in the air, there's been some changes to our legislation here in WA in relation to quarantining. Okay, but the good news is, and I'll get straight to that, it's not 14 days. Okay.
Not the Christmas surprise travellers are counting on. Rani Hayman, ABC News, Sydney.
And Rani Hayman is at Sydney Airport tonight. Rani, things are changing rapidly. Are there any new travel restrictions?
That's right, Kirsten. Well, due to the evolving situation, anyone who is arriving in Western Australia from New South Wales since December the 11th, which is last Friday, has now been advised to go into immediate self-isolation and get tested for the virus within the next 24 hours. And that means for people who are travelling from Sydney to Perth tonight, they will be required to get a test at the airport when they arrive. Now, we know that people are also required to return to self-isolation until they receive a negative test. WA has said that they will give us an update on that in the next 24 to 48 hours. And up north in Queensland, they've also introduced new restrictions for people who have arrived in Queensland from the Northern Beaches since last Friday again. They've said that those people will not be allowed to travel to aged care facilities within Queensland, correctional facilities and hospitals. So there is a rapidly changing situation here. Here at Sydney Airport, we spoke to a number of people and they cannot keep up with the changes.
First time in about a year I got to see my family, so yeah, just to hear that there's another outbreak saddens me, but it is what it is.
We don't really know what's happening and we want to get the cans, then we'll think yes.
I'm just excited to see my dad.
So Kirsten, we are about a week out from Christmas and it really is now an anxious wait to see what the next week is going to hold.
Rani Hayman from Sydney Airport. And for a full list of the venues affected by these latest COVID-19 cases, you can visit the New South Wales Health website.